Hey, what's up, guys? My name is Shaman, and today I got a little inspiration from the guy Pixel. You know, the Pixel guy who does like all the ranking videos. And he made a video called Ranking Letters based on how you can capitalize them. So I thought to myself, okay, I'm sorry about the thing about it. So I thought to myself, okay, he made a video explaining how you can kind of change some letters to make it capitalized. For example, take L, just make it capitalized like that, right? And then he pointed out some harder letters to capitalize, like P or G. So that got me thinking. But then he did some letters like C and O, and they capitalized them. He said you could kind of excuse them for being blocky letters. So that got me thinking. What if we can blockify all letters, or make all letters blockified? So in this video, we're going to turn letters into blocky versions, and we're going to be rating them on how I think they're easy to be blockified. That was a weird sentence. We're going to be rating letters based on how easy you can turn them into blockified letters. And I mean rating, not ranking, because I can't really rank these letters because a lot of them are pretty much easy. And so the S, A, B, C, D tiers wouldn't make sense. So, bear with me. To start, our first letter, of course, is going to be A. And really the only problem with this is that, I mean, you can't quite see it, but it's there. It's just like, all you really need to do here is just remove the line. You can kind of make it closer to show you what I'm talking about. Because the actual blocky A here, of course, does not have the line attached to it. It's just like this, and, well, actually, that's pretty much the same thing that we're doing. But yeah, it doesn't have the A there. So unfortunately, due to this problem, A is going to get a 9 out of 10. It's not perfect at all. And then we have the letter B, which is probably worse than A because I have seen some people just do this, right? But that's not what a blocky B looks like. It's almost like two blocky Ds kind of stacked on top of each other. Which means to actually blockify the B, really the only way you can actually kind of get away with it is if you write the B's like tail more out, because the problem is if you write a B with the lines connected, and this is going to kind of run so you kind of have to do this to blockify it. And I don't even know what that is. So really the only way you can actually get away with it is writing B like this. Right, like that. Because then you can only make the excuse that it's a blockified letter. But because of this, yeah, that's pretty icky. It's gonna get a 3 out of 10. It's not that good. Then we have a duo pair, and you guessed it, it is C and D. Because in theory, all the changes is just one line added on to each other. They're just kind of encasing each other, right? I think these two are perfect by all means, and I think they both deserve a 10 out of 10 ranking. Okay? Then we have another pair, which is E and F, because again, in both cases, you're pretty much just kind of moistening the outside, but in both cases, they both have this thing here, which all you need to do to fix that would be to just erase them. So likewise, they're both going to get 9 out of 10 rankings. Okay. Then the next letter, which you probably guessed by now, gave me kind of a big shock, if I'm going to be honest with you. Like, this letter kind of shocked me out at first of how kind of well it redeemed itself. So, with that being said, you probably know what that letter is. It's G, but not G like that. It's actually G like this, because in theory, it's very easy, even though this G kind of looks slanted. I can't draw it perfectly. It's really just like this. Something like that. But I'm surprised it really redeemed itself after this. That was just horrible, right? So I'm surprised. I give G a 10 out of 10. It's really good. Okay. Then we have kind of another similar situation here. We have both H and I, because, again, in both cases, you kind of just end up with this, right? They both have like these two pairs here, which of course the actual blocky H's and I's. I can't even draw them. God dang it. Oh my god. Because the actual blocky H's and I's both have these. This is a terrible one. Okay, that looks better. Don't have these lines here, so in any case, they're both gonna get an 8 out of 10 for both of these. Okay. Then we have J, which I feel like is a bit more excusable than H and I, because all you really have to do is just do this to blockify it, and the only issue being these top line. I know some people do it without the top line, like you can do it like that, and that looks better, but because the way I do it, which is this way, I'm gonna have to give it a 9 out of 10, but it is better than this guy though. And then we have a letter which kind of frustrates me, probably one of the worst ones on the list, and you guessed it, excuse, oh my god. So then we have one of the letters which kind of is the worst one by far, and you probably guess what that is. It is K, because K is just kind of this weird one that, oh my god, I can't put this closer. K is just kind of this weird one that exists. Like, I don't even know what more to say. It's pretty icky because when you try to blockify it, right? Throw it a bit lower like this. And that's not what a blocky K is supposed to look like. I know some people try to do it even worse by like trying to add like the lines on top of it. And this blocky K looks way worse, even though it does look more blocky. Because how many connection points are here? Yuck. What is that? No. K is easily getting a 1 out of 10. Maybe even a 0 if I'm gonna be honest. That's just awful. However, fear not, because the next letter, L, is very excusable. Because in this case, all you'd have to do to fix it, or blockify it, is that 10 out of 10. Fairly simple. Then we have another duo on the list, and that is M and N. In this case, I think M works better than N does, because that's the theory behind it. Like, N just kind of, I don't know, has these 2 points here, whereas M doesn't have that. So M will get a 10 out of 10, and I apologize for driving these so darn close to each other. But yeah, M will get a 10, and we'll get a 9. That's pretty much the gist of it. I don't need to explain it anymore. Then we have pretty much the easiest letter out of all of them, to Blockify, and I explained this in the letters video itself, and that is, well, not I, Pixel did. That is O. Search into that. Nothing will need to be said. It's pretty much just a donut. That's it. If you think about it, it's pretty much just C, but like this. Very excusable. 10 out of 10. Then we have a letter that also kind of surprised me, which is P, because at first I thought it was pretty much going to be identical to B, because, again, you can't really do this. With P, since it has this kind of stick here, you actually can. Because if you look at it, you're pretty much just doing this. Oh my god, I can't draw. I mean, just this. And really the only issue here, okay, if I can even draw it, is this line. If you just erase the line, you have a perfect blocky P. It's really just not even that far. I'm surprised how much P redeemed itself. I'd be happy to give this one a 9 out of 10. Simple as that. Then we have probably another really bad letter, but not as bad as K in my opinion, and that is Q, because yuck, that's an ugly Q, but yeah, still yuck. How many connection points are here? This is not what a blocky Q. First of all, you have to erase all of this to kind of make it an acceptable blocky Q, because that is just not even close. That's pretty. These two lines right here are really causing the most frustration to me. That's why I don't think Q is as bad as K, because K was just kind of this one that existed. That was pretty bad. Q just kind of doesn't sit there. I'll give it 2. That is it. Then we have R, which kind of has a similar situation to both B and K, if you think about it. I like to forgive R a bit, because now you can kind of just loop it around to do this. It's not as excusable as P, though, because with P, whereas this one kind of has the intersection here, like this one, you just remove the line. That's why I feel like R can then get a 7. It's just not that great because of this thing here. So that's the reason there. And then we have S, which is this. Turns into this. That kind of looks like a 5 more than an S, in my opinion, because a 5 is obviously written like this. I feel like you could easily kind of confuse it with a 5, especially if you write it like that. So in my eyes, I feel like if you kind of loop the S, you can actually get away with it a lot more easier to Blockify it, because I feel like just an S like this would honestly get confused with the 5. So, but it's not bad. I'll give it a 9. Okay. Then we have T, which is really the same situation as I, because, again, you have this, but unlike I, right, it doesn't have the bottom 2, it only has the top 2. So that's why I think T is a bit more excusable than I, in the fact that it's pretty much just J, if you think about it. Because they're both pretty identical. So, I have to give it a bit, and I'll give it a 9 out of 10. And then we have a triple on this list, and that is U, V, and W. Because in all cases, you can kind of just outside line them. Nothing more to be said. These are very easy blocky letters. All 10 out of 10 rankings. That's far. Pretty easy, right? Then, almost out the alphabet, we have X, which is kind of icky because when you try to blockify it, it's like there's a lot of intersection going on here. I mean, it makes sense. I feel like all you need to do to fix it is just do that, right? That's pretty excusable. I don't know why this X is like that. But because of this problem, right, that doesn't look too bad. It still looks like an X. Like compared to K, it's just kind of more worse. Because it really just intersects at these 2 points, whereas K has a lot more going on here. So I'll forgive it a bit, and we'll give it a 3. That's pretty much that. And then we have Y, which goes from this to, I guess you could say it goes to this. And that's pretty excusable, because all you really have to do here is rule the line. And there you go, you got a perfect Y. I know some people do like the craziest stuff with Y and kind of like make it like a jacket. But this is really not that necessary. Even if you can just erase the line, this is way too thick. I don't think this Y looks as good as this Y. So, but in theory, you just need to erase this line. That's pretty much it. So I'll give it a 9. That's all it is. Finally, we have, you guessed it, Z, because in this situation, it's pretty much the same as N. But I actually like Z a bit more than N because the blocky version of Z actually looks like this, whereas the blocky version of N typically has solid bottoms. So that's why I feel like Z is more usable than N in the fact that it's actually meant to look like this. So Z will get a 10 out of 10 for its final ranking. There you guys have it. That was my tier list of blocky letters, ranking letters based on how you could blockify them, or ranking letters? Rating letters based on how you can blockify them. I want to thank Pixel for this idea, and if you have any more recommendations on videos like this, let me know. And I'm surprised he hasn't done this one, but if you want to see any more videos, come and tell me. Peace out, guys.